Right, year 12s, this is now some exam questions on solving exponential type questions, and you've got to recognise and use your skills. The first one is just to build up your understanding. So if we have a think, this looks like a quadratic, right? So it's minus 6 on both sides. That's for minusing 6 on both sides. Now, like in trig identities and other types of indices problems, sometimes it's just helpful to do this. If you're very good, you don't. But I'm just going to say let y equals e to the x. So this becomes y squared plus 5y minus 6 equals 0. Now we should be very good at factorising this. So we get y. Now we need minus 6 and a plus 5. So it's got to be a plus 6 and a minus 1. Fantastic. Now we have y can equal 1 and y equals minus 6. Now we know y equals e to the x, so we can say e to the x equals minus 6, which doesn't work because an exponential term cannot be minus 6, a bit like logs. And then we have e to the x must equal 1 from y equals 1. Just a bit of substitution here. A very useful skill for you guys to use. Now, that must mean, for this to work, x has to be 0, because e to the 0 equals 1, or anything to the power of 0 equals 1. So if you remember that ln 1 equals 0, x must equal ln 1. I hope that was helpful. I will go through this. This was in your logs and exponential tests, and I have gone through this before, but it's worth going through again. But I'll start with this to build up your skills. On this question, right. Now where am I at? That's equals 3. So, we have exponentials, the inverse is ln. So let's just learn all of this. Ln, let's write that nicely, guys. Ln 2 to the x, e to the x plus 1 equals 3. Now, remember the multiplication laws for logs. So you can have ln 2 to the power x plus e ln e to the x plus 1 equals 3. Remember to use the power laws. So x comes in front. So we get x ln 2 plus x plus 1 ln e. Now it's very important that you remember that ln e equals 1. So that just really just becomes 1. So we get x ln 2 plus now there's two ways you want to simplify this here to make it easier or more difficult for yourself, but I would just leave that as x plus 1 equals 3 here. The mark schemes do it a bit differently, but I like it this way. Now, this is a key skill here that you have to remember. In terms of logs, you have to use your change of subject skills to make x a subject, so you can divide out by the terms at the end. So let's just minus 1 here first from both sides. I need to do this for the space. Ooh, big error, and I don't want to reshoot the video because we have to learn both sides. So that has to be ln 3, and that's ln 3 minus 1. then. Now, this is where the factorising skill I was talking about comes in. That is x ln 2 plus 1 equals ln 3 minus 1. Remember, don't do what I did, we have to learn both sides. And now you can see it's quite easy. We divide out by ln 2 plus 1. Now, in the calculator, put the bracket there, otherwise you'll get the wrong answer because you'll add those together when it learns it, most likely. Divide that by ln 2 plus 1. So x equals ln 3, I'm going to put a bracket there, minus 1 all over ln 2 plus 1. That's the exact solution. If you want it to three significant figures, then do so. Okay. Just because we've just done this skill, let's try this 5 marker now, and it's exactly the same skills. So let's learn both sides, and we do that because of these exponential terms, they're inverses of each other, so I'll cancel that out to 1. So let's do it step by step. When you get very good, you can break that up. But it's probably better to keep this good form so you can keep your method marks, even if you make a mistake later, like what I could have possibly done just there. Equals 10. Now remember the multiplication law, so we can split this up to ln 2 to the x plus ln e to the 3x plus 1 equals 10, and I will suggest working it out in this method, so you just get used to using those rules and laws a lot. Now the power law, we can bring this to the front, and the power law, bring this to the front, and look what I've done here. Again, I've got to ln 10 here. So next step is we get x ln 2 plus 3x plus 1, let's not be sloppy and bracket that up, to the ln e equals ln 10. Now remember what I said, ln e equals 1, where's my blue pen? State this in your paper because you need that for working out. So what do we get here? Now we get x ln 2 plus, remember that is 1, plus 3x plus 1, and let me rub that out because it's in the way, equals ln 10, put this back in, ln e equals 1. Now, look at the skills here before, let's minus 1 on both sides. I've got space, so I'll do that now. Minus 1, minus 1. So you get x ln 2 plus 3x equals ln 10 minus 1. Remember that should be bracketed out. Look at this, is an important skill. Change the subject or rearrange. Let's make x a subject here, which is essentially just factorise the x out. So that's x ln 2 plus 3 equals ln 10 minus 1. And the rest is simple. Sometimes you guys like seeing this step. So you're dividing it all out by that on both sides. And then you get left with x equals, and this will be the exact solution, all over. So ln 10 minus 1 divided by ln 2, and then add 3, do that in your calculator correctly if it asks it to three significant figures. That's the exact solution though. And let's see, where would you get your methods for this? That would probably be M1. Splitting it up is M2. Understanding this bit is key, which is M3. Factorising out x would be M4, and that would be your A1. Remember again, watch the video, try to give these questions a go afterwards, because there's a lot of steps to follow, and it will really help you remember all these rules. And if you would notice, all the techniques, all the log questions and exponential questions are similar, and even these factorisation skills will be helpful to the rest of your pure course and mechanics as well. So this one you need to understand that it's very similar to this, and this was on your vectors test, and I would set y to equal 8x to the minus 1. Right, so we would then get y squared minus 18y plus 32 equals 0. That should get you a method mark, I believe. Let's factorise that out. Plus 32, factor of 32 to make minus 18. What's that going to be? Has to be 16 and 2. Because of minus, so it's going to be minus 16 plus 2 equals 0. Nice work here. So y can equal minus 2 and y can equal 16. Now, oh, wait up. That's minus 2, so be careful. Use your normal method when you do this, because you see I'm rushing and I almost made a silly mistake. Yeah, it's going to give us a minus 18, so y equals 2, y equals 16. So now we can substitute this into this equation here. So 2 equals 8x to the minus 1, and 16 equals 8x to the minus 1. Now in earlier videos we learnt how to do these, right? Because you just use your log rules now, or if you're very good at indices, you can use your indices skills, because you know 8 to the power a third equals 2, so you could solve for making this a third. That's a solution. And then you should, if you know your laws of indices, 8 to the power 4 over 3 would equal 16. So you can solve 4 over 3 equals 16 to make this. So that's what I mean. X minus 1 equals 4 over 3. Solve that. That's another way. And let's just show you this way anyway if you're very advanced. And because 8 to the third, the power of a third is 2. So you can get a third equals x minus 1. But sometimes in the stressful exam, you won't remember those skills. So let's just go back to practicing your log skills so you know. Let's just log both sides. Log 2 equals log 8x minus 1. Let's solve that one first. Remember your power laws. So you've got x minus 1 log 8 equals log 2, and divide out by log 8, right? So you get log 2 divided by log 8 equals x minus 1. So log 2 divided by log 8 plus 1, because I moved the 1 over, equals x. And obviously use your calculator, and I believe for this one that would be, so x equals, that should be a third plus 1, so that would be 1/3 plus 1 equals 4 over 3. Do want to explain that, because look, this will work here. Plus 1 plus 1, so x will equal 4 over 3. But use this if you come stuck in the exam and you can't spot the power or the technique here. So same again with this question here. I'm just going to write it in blue so you don't get too confused. So we know 16 equals 8x to the minus 1, log both sides. Remember the power law. I've got space, so I can do a bit more working out. Divide out by log 8. On both sides. So log 16 divided by log 8 equals x minus 1. Add 1 to both sides. And you should get log 16 over log 8 plus 1 equals x. So that should be 4 over 3 plus 1. So 4 over 3 plus 1, 4 over 3 plus 1 equals x. So x equals 7 over 3, which is the same in this case up here. Remember, we plus 1 to both sides. If you're very good with the indices, x equals 7 over 3. Obviously this is quicker, this will get you the marks. That will get the marks as well. So let's just say what this is going to be: M1, M2, M3, M4. Oh, that's M3 together, and these are your answer marks. Answer 1, maybe answer 2. Depends what method you use, but it's all valid. And hopefully this really helps you guys understand logs. Practice it. It's a new skill for you guys, so you will forget. And I do understand why it's a bit challenging, because it's such a new skill. And the rules, you don't have anything to connect the rules of logs with from your prior knowledge. But well done if you can do these questions.